नमस्कार दोस्तों, आप सभी का एक बार फिर से स्वागत है सम्यक IAS RAS के यूट्यूब चैनल पर। So this is our second class of the yoga and sports, and in the first class we have already covered the part related to the sports as well as first in aid in the sports. So the yoga part was remaining. So in this class we will be covering the yoga part. Now if you go through the previous year questions of the yoga part, so there has been a great diversity in the questions of the yoga parts. The questions have come from the different sources. So it's very difficult to limit the syllabus in the particular foundations, but still have tried to cover all the aspects of the yoga, like the basic details of the yoga is the literature as well as the basic asanas of the yoga and utilitarian viewpoint of the yoga, that is yoga for the particular purpose. So let's start with the yoga part. Now, first of all, let's first go through the introduction of the yoga. So if we go through the introduction of yoga, and if we are, for example, if a question comes that what is yoga, so that is basic simple definition of the yoga. Now obviously every one of us know the meaning of the yoga, but it is very difficult to define the yoga in the scientific terms or in the academic language. So if we go through the definition of the yoga, so basically, first of all, we need to understand that yoga is in inner science. Inner science means it will have an impact on inner side of the body. It is not related to the external part of the human body. So it is related to the inner part of the human body. Now it comprises of variety of practices. Obviously, we do multiple asanas and practices, mudras in the yoga. So it comprises of multiple practices and methods. Now second part of the definition tells about the purpose of the yoga or the utilitarian viewpoint of the yoga, which human being the various practices and methods which human beings can achieve a union between the body and mind to attain self realization. तो बेसिकली अगर यहाँ पर योगा का एक एस्पेक्ट देखा जाए तो योगा का यहाँ पर जो ऑब्जेक्टिव बताया गया, अगर अपने डेफिनेशन वापस पढ़ने से पहले एक बार इसका थोड़ा सा डिस्क्रिप्टिव डिस्कशन कर अगर अपने करें तो यहाँ पर इस डेफिनेशन के अंदर तीन पार्ट बताए गए हैं कि योगा क्या है। तो योगा एक इनर साइंस है। दूसरा, योगा में क्या होता है, सो इट कंप्राइजेज मल्टीपल मेथड्स, मल्टीपल प्रैक्टिसेस। तीसरा, योगा का ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या होता है, ये जो प्रैक्टिसेस योगा में की जाती है इनका ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या होता है, इनसे क्या अचीव होता है, एम क्या होता है इनका। अगर उसकी बात करें तो योगा बेसिकली आपको जो है रीयूनाइट करता है यूनिवर्सल कंसाइंस के साथ, या जिसको अपने नॉर्मल लैंग्वेज में कहते हैं निर्वाणा के लिए। तो अगर इस पर्टिकुलर डेफिनेशन में जाया जाए तो योगा हैज बीन कंसिडर्ड ए स्पिरिचुअल साइंस, दैट साइंस विल यूनाइट यू विद द एटर्नल पावर और विद द गॉड और विद द अलमाइटी। Now, so that is the basic purpose of the yoga. So basically this is the proper definition of the yoga, which says that yoga is inner science which comprises of various practices and methods, and objective of these methods is to unite an individual with the almighty or to unite an individual with the universal conscience, और जिसको अपने कहते हैं कि सृष्टि के अंदर जो भी एक नेचुरल फोर्स है उस नेचुरल फोर्स से आपको यूनाइट करने के लिए जो प्रैक्टिसेस काम आती है उन प्रैक्टिसेस के कॉम्बिनेशन को योगा कहा जाता है, और योगा एक इनर साइंस होती है। सो दिस इज द डेफिनेशन ऑफ द योगा। नाउ if we go in the literal meaning of the yoga, so the yoga word comes from a Sanskrit word yuj. So it is derived from the Sanskrit word yuj. Now meaning of the yuj is to attach or to join. Now ऑब्वियसली अगर आप लिटरल मीनिंग देखें तो इसका मतलब है कि इसके अंदर आपको किसी के साथ यूनाइट किया जाएगा, किसी के साथ जोड़ा जाएगा। अब किसको किसके साथ जोड़ा जा रहा है, तो कोई भी इंडिविजुअल बीइंग जो है ए, इसको जोड़ा जा रहा है किसके साथ, यूनिवर्सल कंसाइंस के साथ। कंसाइंस के साथ, यूनिवर्सल कंसाइंस का मतलब है जो नेचुरल अलमाइटी है। यूनिवर्सल कंसाइंस के साथ जोड़ने का पर्पज क्या है, वो पर्पज जो है वो है सेल्फ रियलाइजेशन, या जिसको अपने नॉर्मल वर्ड्स में जो हिस्ट्री के अंदर वर्ड्स में कहा जाता है निर्वाणा या मोक्षा। तो अगर इस पर्टिकुलर पर्सपेक्टिव से देखा जाए तो योगा को ए दर्शन स्कूल ऑफ द फिलोसफी माना जा सकता है, जिसका बेसिक पर्पज होता है सेल्फ रियलाइजेशन या निर्वाणा अचीव करना। निर्वाणा अचीव करने के लिए आपको किसी न किसी एक यूनिवर्सल फोर्स के साथ जोड़ा जाएगा, नेचर के साथ जोड़ा जाएगा। नेचर के साथ जोड़ने के लिए आपको बहुत सारी प्रैक्टिसेस और मेथड्स को अडॉप्ट करना पड़ेगा। उन प्रैक्टिसेस और मेथड्स के कॉम्बिनेशन को क्या कहा गया है, योगा कहा गया है, और ये संस्कृत के वर्ड युद्ध से लिया गया, जिसका मतलब ही या जिसका मीनिंग ही टू अटैच होता है। Now, this is the basic objective of the yoga. So the basic significance of the yoga is union of the individual and universal conscience उससे अचीव क्या होता है, तो उससे अचीव निर्वाणा होता है। तो अपने आज की डेट में योगा को एक मेडिकल साइंस की फॉर्म में पढ़ते हैं, बट अगर आप ट्रेडिशनल फॉर्म देखो तो योगा को एक स्पिरिचुअल साइंस की फॉर्म में पढ़ा गया है। स्पिरिचुअल साइंस का मतलब है कि इसका जो बेसिक एम होता था ट्रेडिशनली योगा का, आज के टाइम में अपने फिजिकल एंड मेंटल बैलेंस अटेन करने के लिए योगा करते हैं, बट ट्रेडिशनली या लिटरेचर वाइज जो योगा का एम रखा गया दैट इज टू अचीव दी निर्वाणा और टू डू दी सेल्फ रियलाइजेशन। सेल्फ रियलाइजेशन के लिए जो इंडिविजुअल है जो योगा परफॉर्म कर रहा है, उस परफॉर्मर को यूनिवर्सल कंसाइंस के साथ अटैच किया जाता है, दैट इज द साइंस ऑफ द योगा। नाउ इफ यू गो इन द हिस्ट्री ऑफ द योगा, सो योगा के कुछ एविडेंसेस आपको जो है इंडस सिविलाइजेशन में मिलते हैं। So it is 5 marker question that what they give a brief timeline of the evolution of the science of the yoga, or we can say that give a brief history of the yoga। तो इसके जो ओल्डेस्ट एविडेंसेस मिलते हैं योगा के आपको वो इंडस सिविलाइजेशन से मिलते हैं। हालांकि कोई क्लियर कट एविडेंसेस नहीं मिले हैं, बट बहुत सारे एविडेंसेस ऐसे हैं जिनसे इन्फ्रेंस ये निकाला गया है कि द पीपल ऑफ द इंडस वैली सिविलाइजेशन और द आईवीसी वर अवेयर ऑफ द साइंस ऑफ द योगा। अगर अपने योगा के लिटरेचर के बारे में बात करें तो योगा के बारे में जो पहला स्पेसिफिक लिटरेचर है वो पतंजलि नाम के एक ऋषि ने लिखा था। सहज पतंजलि, उन्होंने एक बुक लिखी थी जिसका नाम था योगा सूत्राज। उस समय पर आपने पढ़ा होगा कि एंशिएंट हिस्ट्री के अंदर देयर यूज्ड टू बी द डिफरेंट सूत्राज। सूत्राज का मतलब होता था एक बेसिक कंपाइलेशन ऑफ द मेथड्स ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर थिंग। तो योगा से रिलेटेड जो भी मेथड्स है उनके कंपाइलेशन को योगा सूत्राज कहा गया है। और योगा सूत्राज किसने लिखी है, तो सहज पतंजलि ने लिखी है। ये जो पतंजलि थे इन्होंने एक पर्टिकुलर टाइप ऑफ द योगा को डिफाइन किया जिसको अपने अष्टांग योगा कहते हैं, आगे चलकर अपने पढ़ेंगे भी। ये जो अष्टांग योगा होता है जिसके 8 कंपोनेंट्स होते हैं। सो देयर आर 8 कंपोनेंट्स ऑफ द अष्टांग योगा, एंड अष्टांग योगा वाज द फॉर्म ऑफ द योगा व्हिच वाज प्रपोज्ड बाय द सहज पतंजलि। नाउ दीज 8 लिम्स ऑफ द योगा वी विल स्टडी लेटर। सो यमा, नियमा, आसना, प्राणायामा, प्रत्याहारा, धर्मा, धरणा, ध्याना एंड समाधि। इसको अपने क्लासिकल योगा भी कहते हैं बिकॉज इट इज द ओल्डेस्ट फॉर्म ऑफ द योगा। इन द मॉडर्न टाइम्स द yoga at the global level was promoted by the Swami Vivekananda when he went to the Chicago for attending the World Religious Forum in the 1893. So at that religious forum, at that religious meeting, he promoted the yoga. So in the 1893, the Swami Vivekananda promoted the yoga in Chicago. Similarly, in the 1920s and 30s, two different people promoted two different forms of the yoga. One was the Hatha yoga that was strongly promoted by the T. Krishnamacharya, and similarly the Hatha yoga was also promoted by the Swami Sivananda. So two people who are credited with the promoting yoga in the India are T. Krishnamacharya and Swami Sivananda. These people promoted the Hatha yoga in the 1930s or the 1920s. Basically, they used to do yoga on the banks of the Krishna river in the Karnataka state, and from there yoga became basically prominent. Okay, and ultimately on 11th of December 2014, the United Nations General Assembly on the request of the India. On 11th of December 2014, the United Nations General Assembly on request of India decided to celebrate June 21 as the International Yoga Day. So since 2014, the International Yoga Day is celebrated on 21st June every year. Why 21st June? Because 21st June is the longest day of the year, and yoga is correlated to the longer life. So to correlate the longer life, the International Yoga Day is celebrated on the longest day on the earth, and that is the 21st June. So every year 21st June is celebrated as International Yoga Day, and this was decided by the UNGA or the United Nations General Assembly in the 2014. So on the request of the India. Okay, so this has been the history of yoga. Now coming to various schools of the yoga. So basically there are 4 schools, though there are multiple schools, but out of these there are 4 basic schools of the yoga or 4 prominent schools of the yoga. These are the Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga. Now coming to each and every school, the first school or the first traditional school of the yoga is the Jnana Yoga. Now here Jnana means to know. Here the meaning of Jnana is to know basically. So basic purpose of this yoga is to achieve the path of knowledge, wisdom and introspection, and ultimate aim of every school is obviously the ultimate aim will remain the same, that is to attain the self realization or to attain the nirvana. So for attaining the nirvana, this Jnana Yoga school of the yoga promotes that you should attain the good knowledge, you should introspect and you should have wisdom. That includes the deep exploration of the nature by systematically exploring and setting aside false identities. तो इसका बेसिकली जन्ना योगा का मतलब है टू नो योर सेल्फ, कि अगर आप खुद को जानते हो, दैट कैन बी ए वे टू अचीव द सेल्फ रियलाइजेशन और दैट कैन बी ए वन ऑफ द मेथड ऑफ अटेनिंग द निर्वाणा. तो खुद को जानने पर फोकस किया गया जन्ना योगा के अंदर. जन्ना का मतलब यहाँ पर जानना होता है, दैट इज टू नो बेसिकली. अब जानना किसको है, तो जानना खुद को है, इनर साइड जानना है, ना कि आउटर एक्सप्लोरेशन. इट इज अबाउट द इनर एक्सप्लोरेशन ऑफ द ह्यूमन बीइंग. सिमिलरली वी हैव द भक्ति योगा. भक्ति योगा जो जैसे भक्ति मार्गा होता है, भक्ति मार्गा के अंदर डिवोशन इज द प्राइम फैक्टर. सेम वे है द भक्ति योगा प्रमोट्स द डिमोशन, इमोशन, लव एंड सर्विस टू द गॉड एंड अदर्स. तो आप किसी एक पर्टिकुलर इंडिविजुअल या पर्टिकुलर गॉड को अपना भगवान मानते हुए उसको खुद को डेडिकेट करते हैं, और जब आप खुद को डिवोट कर देते हैं, सो दैट बिकम्स ए वे टू अचीव द सेल्फ रियलाइजेशन, दैट इज नोन एज द भक्ति योगा. सिमिलरली वी हैव द कर्मा योगा. Now karma yoga says that you need to improve your karmas or deeds. So if you do good deeds, then obviously you will achieve the self realization, that is the karma yoga. So karma yoga is the path of action, service to the others, mindfulness and remembering the levels of our being while fulfilling our actions or karma in the world. So basically we need to improve our karmas or deeds, and if we are able to improve our karmas or deeds, then that can become a mechanism to achieve the self realization, which is the ultimate aim of the yoga. I would like to repeat again that yoga in this sense has been considered a spiritual science and not the medical science. Now yoga is treated as a medical science or a therapeutical science, but now in the ancient times yoga was not treated as medical science. It used to be treated as the spiritual science basically. Similarly we have the Raj Yoga. Now Raj Yoga means basically in this the focus is on the meditation. So if you meditate, then that is another way to achieve the salvation. So that is the Raj Yoga. Now, if you talk about the Bhagavad Gita, so Bhagavad Gita has mentioned about the Jnana Yoga and the Karma Yoga, and the yoga which was proposed by the Patanjali in the Yoga Sutra. I have already told you that that was the Ashtanga Yoga. This Ashtanga Yoga comprises of 8 limbs. We will study all these limbs. Now coming to the Ashtanga Yoga, because that is the classical yoga or that is the actual yoga as it has been mentioned in the we can call it the encyclopedia of yoga, that is the Yoga Sutra, which was written by the sage Patanjali. So there are 8 elements of the Ashtanga Yoga. Now then they can ask you all of these 8 elements in the 5 marks question, or they can ask you any particular element in the 2 marker. So first element of the Ashtanga Yoga is the Yama. Now Yama basically means restraints or principles. So Yama is basically your behavior. Yama here means your behavior. So basically you need to observe restraints in your life. आपको खुद के ऊपर लिमिट्स लगानी है, क्योंकि देखो योगा एक इनर साइंस है. इनर साइंस का मतलब है कि आपको अपने मन को कुछ हद तक जो है लिमिटेड रखना पड़ेगा. आप उसको चंचल मन की तरह इधर उधर नहीं भेज सकते. सो बेसिकली यू नीड टू ऑब्जर्व वेरियस रिस्ट्रेंट्स इन योर डेली बिहेवियर. सो यमा डील्स विद वंस एथिकल स्टैंडर्ड्स, बिकॉज ऑब्वियसली अगर आप खुद पर लिमिट्स लगाते हैं तो आप सिलेक्टेड डिसीजंस लेंगे, एक प्री डिसाइडेड आइडियोलॉजी के अकॉर्डिंग ही डिसीजंस लेंगे. एंड सेंस ऑफ इंटीग्रिटी, फोकसिंग ऑन आवर बिहेवियर एंड हाउ वी कंडक्ट आवरसेल्फ इन द योगा. योगा सूत्रा स्टेट्स 5 कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट्स. तो आपको बेसिकली कौन से 5 प्रिंसिपल्स को फॉलो करना होता है, देन यू विल बी कंसिडर्ड द फॉलोअर ऑफ द यमा. सो दीज 5 प्रिंसिपल्स व्हिच आर मेंशन्ड इन द योगा सूत्रा एंड दैट आर पार्ट ऑफ द आइडियल बिहेवियर एज इट has been described by the Ashtanga Yoga. Is first is ahimsa, so you need to follow the principle of the non-violence. Second is satya, that is truthfulness, so you need to follow the principle of truthfulness. Asteya, that means non-stealing, you will not steal anything. Brahmacharya, continence, you will have to control your sexual senses basically. And aparigraha means non-possessiveness, you will not be materialistic in nature yet, or we can say that in simple words, you will not be greedy in the nature, or you will not try to accumulate the wealth with yourself, because if you accumulate the wealth then you will be engaged in the we can call it the physical well-being, and if you are engaged in the physical well-being, then you will not be caring about your spiritual well-being. And yoga is all about caring for the spiritual well-being rather than your physical well-being. So if we observe these 5 principles in our daily life, then we can say that we have observed the yama principle of the Ashtanga yoga. So yama is obviously ideal behavior, and that ideal behavior can be achieved if we put some restrictions or if we put some restraints on ourselves. And these 5 restraints, these are common to the Jainism as well as Buddhism, because these things are common for the ideal behavior across all the religions or across all the philosophies. Second second element of the Ashtanga yoga is the niyama. Niyama means you will have to observe the personal discipline. Personal disciplines means you will have to follow following things. First, cleanliness, that has been described as soch. Second is santosh, you will have to contentment, which means that you will be satisfied from your life. You will have to, again this means that you will not be greedy for more and more things. Similarly, the third principle is tapa, that means you will you will face the spiritual heat, which means that you will dedicate yourself to the spiritual life. Similarly, we have the swadhyaya, that means study of the sacred scriptures, you will study good books. Similarly, we have the ईश्वर प्राणिधारणा, that means you will surrender yourself to the God. आप इस जिंदगी पर खुद का हक नहीं समझोगे, आप इस जिंदगी के ऊपर भगवान का हक समझोगे. तो आपको ये अपनी डेली लाइफ के अंदर 5 डिसिप्लिन प्रिंसिपल्स फॉलो करने हैं. सो दिस element of the Ashtanga yoga is known as the niyama. Similarly, we have the asana. आसना मीन्स कुछ आसन जो होता है, आसन का मतलब होता है कुछ योगिक पोस्चर्स जिनका बेसिक पर्पज होता है स्ट्रेंथ गेन करना, बैलेंस गेन करना और स्टडीनेस या स्टेबिलिटी गेन करना. तो asanas are yogic postures with aim of achieving the strength, with aim of achieving the balance between the mind and body, the balance between you and natural conscience, and obviously to achieve the steadiness, that is the stability of the thought process. You should not have the chanchal man. So we need to perform various meditative poses, or we need to perform meditation to achieve all these things. So this is the third element of the Ashtanga yoga. Now coming to the fourth element of the Ashtanga yoga, that is the pranayama. Now pranayama is very important in the daily life also. Now the pranayama signifies the breath control. Now because why pranayama? So it is about controlling the breath. Rather than controlling the breath, it is more about being aware about the breathing. So when breath is coming out and when breath is going out, so all these things should be done with the consciousness. So it should not happen. We should be aware of the breathing in and breathing out. Now why to do that? That is because breath is the vital force of our existence, because breath is the thing which makes us living from the non-living element. If breathing stops, then we will also become the non-living, even though the body will remain the same. So the thing which makes us the living is the breathing, and if we are able to achieve awareness of that particular element, then we are able to achieve the awareness of our existence, and that awareness of the existence of the individual will help that individual in achieving the control over the mind. So if you follow the pranayama, then that will help you in following the discipline, that is the niyama as well as the yama. So this particular thing can be helpful in attaining the principle of the yama and niyama. Similarly, we have the principle of the pratyahara. Pratyahara is basically withdrawal of the senses. Pratyahara is basically withdrawal of the senses. Now, withdrawal of the senses means every human body has 5 senses. Now, these five senses are the things which connects us with the external world. Again, coming to the basic definition of the yoga, yoga is all about the inner science. Now, in the general world or in the general human body, the senses connects the human body to the external world. Now, if it is saying that we need to withdraw our senses, that means that we need to focus on our inner self only, and we need to dissociate ourselves from the external body, because it is all about knowing yourself, or it is all about the inner science. So to know the inner, or to be excellent in the inner science, we will have to dissociate or detach ourselves from the external body. That is done as per the principle of the pratyahara. Similarly, we have the principle of the dharana. Dharana here signifies the concentration. So basically it means that we need to focus all of our energy on a single point and or single aim. That aim should be to achieve the self realization, or that aim should be to achieve the nirvana. We need to remove all of our energy from different destinations and need to focus, or need to locate the whole energy on a single thing, that is to achieve the self realization. Similarly, we have the principle of the dhyana. Dhyana in the yogic language stands for the meditation, so we need to do a lot of meditation. Similarly, we have the samadhi. Samadhi means integration, so we need to basically, the samadhi basically is the, in general word, samadhi is referred as the posture in which a particular yogic individual sits and do the meditation, that is known as the samadhi. In the yogic language, the samadhi is considered the integration of an individual with the God, or with the Almighty, or with the eternal power. So when you integrate yourself, when you dissociate yourself from the external world and do the meditation, then you will be able to achieve the integration of the individual with the Almighty, that is known as the samadhi. So these are the 8 elements of the Ashtanga Yoga. Now these Ashtanga Yoga is also considered, this Ashtanga Yoga is represented in the form of a tree also, and these 8 elements of the Ashtanga Yoga are considered various parts of the tree. For example, the Yama is the root, because Yama is the thing which decides our behavior. So it is our social behavior. Niyama is the trunk, that is the personal discipline. Asana is the branch because it gives us strength and balance. Pranayama is the leaves because it is the through which we control our breathing. Pratyahara is bark. Pratyahara means to dissociate yourself from the external world. To dissociate yourself from the external world, or to focus in the inner world. Dharana is basically focusing, that is the twigs. Dhyana is basically meditation or the result, and samadhi is the final result, that is the fruit, that is the salvation. So that is how the 8 elements of the Ashtanga Yoga are compared to different parts of the plant. There can be a question that how Ashtanga Yoga can be considered part of the plant. So in this manner we need to understand that these are the 8 elements of the Ashtanga Yoga, and that is how they are correlated to various parts of the plant. Now coming to the other important elements in the yoga, or other things in the yoga, one is the bandhaj and mudras. Now what is bandhaj and mudras? So there can be a simple question that what is bandhaj and mudras in the yogic context. So talking about bandhaj and mudras, so basically bandhaj and mudras are practices associated with the pranayama. Now pranayama is about controlling the breath or being aware of the breathing. So being aware of the breathing is done through various practices, and these practices are called bandhaj and mudras. Okay. Similarly, we have the satkarmas. Now satkarmas are basically the good deeds which we need to do to achieve the salvation or to facilitate achieving the salvation. Similarly, we have the yukta ahara. Yukta ahara means, ahar here stands for the food basically. So yukti means rational or judicious. So yukta ahara means we need to control our food, and it advocates the appropriate food and water habits for the healthy living. Okay, so these are other elements. Yukta karma, obviously the things or which we should do in our daily life to make it easy for achieving the self-realization. Now coming to the yoga and personality development, there is good probability that the question this year will come from the utilitarian point of view of the yoga, or how yoga can be helpful for various dimensions of the life. In that context, we are studying yoga for the personality development, or how yoga can be helpful in the personality development of an individual, whether that is a student or whether that is एन ऑफिसर, तो कैसे हेल्पफुल हो सकता है वो अपने को देखना है। तो योगिक प्रैक्टिसेस, पहली बात तो पर्सनालिटी डेवलपमेंट का सिंपल सा मतलब होता है आपका फिजिकल एज वेल एज इंटेलेक्चुअल लेवल जो होता है उसको इम्प्रूव करना, उसको ग्रूम करना। तो ये फिजिकल डायमेंशन के अंदर कैसे काम आता है और इंटेलेक्चुअल डायमेंशन के अंदर कैसे काम आता है वो अपने को सेपरेटली स्टडी करना पड़ेगा। तो पहले अगर अपने बात करें फिजिकल डायमेंशन की, कि हाउ योगा कैन बी हेल्पफुल इन इंप्रूविंग द फिजिकल डायमेंशन, तो बेसिकली योगा के अंदर बहुत सारी चीजें ऐसी होती है जो कि बॉडी के ओवरऑल डेवलपमेंट या बॉडी ग्रूमिंग के लिए, बॉडी को बैलेंस में रखने के लिए इंपॉर्टेंट होती है। देयर आर वेरियस बंदास, देयर आर वेरियस आसनास विच प्लेज ए ग्रेट रोल इन मेंटेनिंग द बैलेंस ऑफ द बॉडी और कीपिंग द बॉडी फिट, सो दैट इज हाउ इट हेल्प्स इन द पर्सनालिटी डेवलपमेंट। पर्सनालिटी का एक इंपॉर्टेंट कंपोनेंट होता है इमोशनल डायमेंशन। So that is basically we have the concept of the emotional quotient in the emotional quotient. That concept is becoming more and more prominent. That concept is also studied in the ethics syllabus. So EQ means maintaining the stability of the emotional as well as being aware of one's emotion, that is the emotional quotient. So basically everything or your emotions will be your under control, emotions will not be out of control. So if you have good control over the emotions, then you will be considered good in the emotional quotient, and that will be very helpful for your personality, overall personality. So what part of the yoga can play role in that? So we have the yama, that is basically yama niyama, that is basically maintaining the discipline only. And if you are having a disciplined life, so obviously you will be having control of your this what you call this emotions, and that is how you can improve the emotional dimension of the personality. Similarly, we have the social dimension. Social dimension means what type of the relationship, or we can call it the interpersonal relationships. So now to improve the interpersonal relationships of one individual with the other, we have in the yoga we have the system of the yama and niyama. So following the system of the yama and niyama can be helpful in improving the interpersonal relationships. So that is how you can improve the this social dimension of the personality. Another dimension of the personality is the intellectual dimension. So obviously yoga is all about concentration or the focus through the meditation. Now if we are able to achieve the concentration or focus, so that is how it can be helpful in the intellectual development of the human being. So basically yogic practices such as the asana, pranayama, dharana, dhyana, these can be helpful in increasing the concentration, memory, focus. We have the spiritual dimension. Generally when we talk about the personality we ignore the spiritual dimension, but when we are talking about the yoga, so obviously it is the spiritual science. So there will be a great focus on the spiritual component of the personality. Now coming to the yoga's role in the spiritual component of the personality, see in the spiritual science the basic aim is to achieve the self-realization, and yoga is all about achieving the self-realization. So ultimately the whole yoga is directed towards the spiritual dimension only, so there is no need to specifically mention any part of the yoga which can play a role in the spiritual dimension. Okay. Now coming to the another important utility of the yoga, that is the yoga for the stress management, because nowadays stress is important factor. That stress is caused by the imbalance between the work and life, or work life imbalance as we call it. So when you are going to join as an officer, obviously this is the biggest problem which you are going to face, and because of this problem the efficiency and effectiveness of the administration goes down. So you must have heard that government runs various programs, government conducts various training programs, various counseling sessions, so that the officers and the employees are stress free, because when they are stress free, then only they will be able to contribute their 100%, and without their 100% contribution it is not possible to achieve the effective and efficient public administration that can be achieved only with the stress free mind. So now how yoga can be helpful in the stress free? So basically, for example, the components of the yogic life, or what yoga includes, is basically ahara. We have control over the food. We already studied the yukta ahara. We have the vihara. yoga always focuses on the relaxation. Yoga always focus on the achara, that is the conduct of the human behavior. Vichara, that is the thought process of the human mind. Vyavhara, that is the behavior or action. So all these things are integral part of the yoga. And now if you do the yoga, so you will be following all these things and you will be having a good balance between your physical and mental strength. When you have good balance between physical and mental, then whole of your energy towards will be directed towards a single thing, and you will be having control of your thought process. Now if you have control of your thought process, then obviously it will be good. For example, coming to the ahara part, so yoga emphasizes on the mithya ahara. Mithya here means basically less, ahara means food. Now yoga says that if you have this type of the food, then it will be helpful in remaining in being the stress free. Now what type of the food? For example, for regarding the quality, the mithya ahara advocates that we should eat the freshly cooked food. The food should be nutritious in nature, and the food should be in the natural form, or it should be in the organic form. So if we have this type of the food, then obviously it will be helpful in keeping us the stress free. Similarly, coming to the quantity of the food, the yogic ahar or the miti ahar or yukta ahar says that the 2/4 of the stomach should be filled with the food. So rather than filling the full stomach with the food, we should fill only half of the stomach with the food. 1/4 of the food, that is 25% of the stomach should be filled with the water, and remaining fourth quarter or remaining 25% of the stomach should be left empty for the free flow of the air. Now if we are able to do so, or if we are able to have this controlled food, then obviously our digestion will remain the same. Digestion will remain the proper, and if we are able to have good digestion, then that will give us the energy to do our duty without any stress. And if we have enough energy to do our duty without any stress, so we will remain the stress free, and that is the basic purpose of stress management. Along with the quantity and quality, the mita ahara or the yogic ahara also advocates that the food should be eaten with the positive state of mind with utmost concentration. जो हमें बचपन में सिखाया जाता है कि खाना खाते टाइम खाने पर ही ध्यान दे, किसी दूसरी चीज पर ध्यान नहीं दे, वही बात यहाँ पर कही गई है. Coming to the vihara, that is the relaxation. So yoga says that we should do good relaxation, we should have sound sleep. Everyone of us is aware that if we are having good sleep or if we have relaxed mind, then we will remain the stress free. There is no rocket science in this. Similarly, achara, that is the conduct. This includes our control over the emotions, the control over the desires, the control over the habits. If we have the positive emotions, if we have the positive attitude, and if we have the good habits, which can be achieved through the yogic principles of the yama and niyama, then obviously we will remain the stress free. Now coming to the vichara, that is the thought process. So we need to have positive thought process. If we have the positive thought process, then we will remain the stress free. And in this attainment of the positive thought process, the yogic practices like pratyahara, which is about dissociating yourself with the external world or focusing on your inner self only. Dhyana, that is the meditation, can be helpful in controlling the thought process, that is the vichara. Similarly, vyavhara, the conduct. Now, if we have good food, if we have good sleep, if we have good thought process, then our vyavhar or the conduct will always remain the positive. And if we have good interpersonal relations, then obviously there is very low probability that we will face any stress in the life. So if we have good interpersonal relations, then anyhow we will remain the stress free. So karma says that the yogic principle of the karma says that we should perform right act. अगर हम अच्छी नीयत से अच्छा काम करेंगे तो स्ट्रेस फ्री रहेंगे. Now coming to the yogic asanas for the physical fitness. So for attaining the physical fitness, we have different types of the asanas in the yoga So the probable question can be, for example, they can ask you a particular asana. Now there are obviously unlimited number of the asanas in the yoga. It is not easy to understand and remember each and every asana. So what I have done is that I have picked the most important asanas of the yoga and have tried to correlate them with their basic purpose. So the first and most important asana of the yoga is the Surya Namaskar. Surya Namaskar simply means saluting the sun, because sun is the source of the energy. So basically we are saluting the source of the energy. In this we do various 12 types of the physical postures. Now these postures link us between the warm up and asana. So basically what Surya Namaskar is, this Surya Namaskar is series of 12 different postures, and the basic purpose of this Surya Namaskar is to do the warm up for doing the other asanas which are little difficult. तो जैसे अपने कोई फिजिकल एक्सरसाइज करते हैं, उस फिजिकल एक्सरसाइज से पहले जो वार्म अप करते हैं, योगिक लाइफ के अंदर उस वार्म अप को क्या कहा गया है? सूर्य नमस्कार कहा गया है। उस सूर्य नमस्कार के अंदर 12 डिफरेंट पोस्चर्स होते हैं। तो पहली बात तो कितने पोस्चर्स होते हैं वो ध्यान रखना है। दूसरी बात, दीज आर नॉट मेन एक्सरसाइज, दीज आर वार्म अप्स फॉर द मेजर एक्सरसाइज। नाउ coming to the point that when should we do the Surya Namaskara? So Surya Namaskara should preferably be done at the time of the sunrise and always on empty stomach. तो ये हमें सूर्योदय के समय पे या सनराइज के टाइम पे करना चाहिए, और करते समय हमारा जो पेट है दैट शुड बी एम्प्टी। नाउ coming to the benefits of the Surya Namaskar, that what are the expected benefits of the Surya Namaskar? तो जब ये benefits की बात आती है तो इसके बेनिफिट्स लिमिटेड नहीं हो सकते हैं। ऑब्वियसली ये फिजिकल और मेंटल स्ट्रेंथ के लिए योगा का हर आसन जो है वो हर प्रकार की फिजिकल और मेंटल स्ट्रेंथ के काम आता है, तो आप कैसे भी लिख सकते हैं। एनीवेज, particularly it helps in increasing the strength, endurance and flexibility of the body. आप डिफरेंट 12 postures कर रहे हैं, बॉडी को 12 डिफरेंट एंगल्स पे बेंड कर रहे हैं, तो फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी और स्ट्रेंथ तो इंक्रीज होगी। इट इंप्रूव्स कंसंट्रेशन, यस, every posture of the yoga improves the concentration. It removes excess fat, or it keeps you flexible. Obviously if you are doing 12 different types of the postures or the exercise, so it will always remove the extra fat. It gives energy to the body. Obviously every exercise gives energy to the body. The same thing is with the Surya Namaskar. It improves blood circulation all over the body. Yes, if you are flexing the body in different angles, then the blood circulation in overall body will improve. It improves the flexibility of the whole body. Yes. So these are some benefits of the Surya Namaskar, very general benefits, no as such scientific benefit involved. Similarly, we have the Tadasana. Now what is first of all Tadasana? So in Tadasana, Tad here stands for the tree. So basically you form a tree like structure. So all of your body organs or all of your limbs will be in the same angle. So you will stand up with the hands upright above your head. So Tada in the Sanskrit means the palm tree. So it is like making yourself in the posture of the palm tree. So this is called Tadasana, because in this asana the yogic stands straight like a palm tree. This way your hands up and all of your limbs in the same angle. Now what is the benefit of the Tadasana? So it helps in the headache, insomnia, low blood pressure, etc. Similarly, we have the Hastottasana. In this we will raise our hands and bend towards backward. So in this posture the arms are stretched upwards and hence it is called Hastottanasana. So you will basically Hasta means hath, Tano means Tanna, that is raising upward. It relieves pain in the neck, shoulders and arms. It is beneficial for increasing the height of the growing children. It increases the flexibility of the spine. Similarly, we have the Padhastasana. In this asana, the hands are brought near the feet, hence it is called Padhastasana. So basically, you will bring your Hast means hands and Pad means pair. So basically, you will bring your hands close to the feet. It strengthens the organs located in the abdominal area and improves their functioning. It improves digestion and circulation of the blood in upper body. It improves the flexibility of the leg muscles. Similarly, we have the Trikonasana. This is the angle of the Trikonasana. In Trikonasana, we bend forward and raise one hand towards the upward direction and one hand towards the touching the feet. So Trikon means triangle. So this is how you try to make a triangle. So you will try to create a triangle out of your body. Okay. It stretches up the muscle site of the growing children. It improves the flexibility of the spine. It helps in increasing the height of the growing children. It relieves the pain in the neck and back. We have the Vrikshasana. Vrikshasana again related to the tree. So that is how your one leg will be bent towards your, one leg will be touching to the thigh of the other leg. So you will be standing on single leg and your hands will be raised in the Namaskar posture. So this is basically, this is to increase the balance of the body, because you are putting all of your body weight on the single feet. So this is a balancing in the imagination of the tree. Foot seems as the roots, leg is the trunk, arms as the branches and leaves, head as the top of the tree. It improves the neuromuscular coordination, it improves the balance, it improves the endurance and the alertness, it tones up the leg muscles and rejuvenates the ligaments also. Similarly, we have the Sirsasana. Sirsasana means you will put all of your body weight on your head, so your head will be bottom down, so and your legs will be upward direction. So ulta khada hona is Sirsasana. It improves the blood circulation, particular of the venous blood. It helps in the proper functioning of the abdominal organs and endocrine glands. It increases the supply of the blood to the brain and strengthens the central nervous system. We have the Bakasana or crane position. It increases the strength of the arms and shoulders. It increases the sense of the balance. We have the Hamsasana, like Hans basically, swan posture. So it is a preparatory pose for the म्यूरासना. इसके बाद जो है जब पैर भी उठ जाएंगे तो म्यूरासन में चला जाएगा. अभी पैर जो है ग्राउंड पे है, बॉडी वेट जो है वो हाथों पे और पैरों पर है. So it is a preparatory pose for Murasana. The only difference is that in Murasana legs are raised, while in Hansasana feet are kept on the ground and the body is kept little bent and balanced on the elbows. It gives exercises to the arms. The pressure exerted on the abdomen in this asana improves the functioning of the abdominal organs and increases appetite. We have the Murasana, जिसके अंदर आपने हंसासना की बजाय पैर भी ऊपर उठा लिए हैं. Now, which asanas can be helpful for the stress management? One is the Padhastasana, Hastasana, Trikonasana. One is the Matsyasana. One is the Savasana. One is the Makrasana, crocodile pose. One is the Bhujangasana. One is the Pranayama. ये सारे stress management में काम आते हैं. Now coming to the yoga for the student life. So that is the yogic practices to improve the concentration. One we have the Tratka or the concentrated gazing. इस त्राटका के अंदर क्या होता है कि आप अपनी आंखों को किसी एक पर्टिकुलर ऑब्जेक्ट के ऊपर फोकस कर लेते हो. ठीक है. सो इन दिस आईज आर फोकस्ड ऑन ए पर्टिकुलर ऑब्जेक्ट विच कुड बी a flame or lamp or burning candle or a point. This is done without blinking the eyes till the eyes get tired or start watering. We have the Grudasana, eagle posture. ईगल पोस्चर के अंदर क्या होता है कि आप इस तरीके से जो है अपने आर्म्स और हैंड्स को इस तरीके से प्लेस करते हुए बैठ जाते हैं. वी हैव द गोमुखासना. गोमुखासना के अंदर क्या होता है कि द पोजीशन ऑफ द लेग्स लुक लाइक द फेस ऑफ काउ, हेंस इट इज कॉल्ड गोमुखासना. वी हैव द सिंहासना, जिसके अंदर सिंह का यहाँ पर मतलब शेर है. तो इसके अंदर क्या होता है कि आप अपने फेस को ओपन कर टंग को बाहर कर एक खतरनाक शेर का लुक अचीव करने की कोशिश करते हो. सो दीज आर द वेरियस आसनास ऑफ द योगा एंड दैट इज व्हाट we need to study in the yoga. So that's all for the yoga part. So that's all for this class. Have a good day. Thank you. Keep watching.